Back into some Shimano Di2 content here on the GPLama YouTube channel, and a project that I've been super keen to get started on. Firstly, some background on what I'm up to. Now, this is my Giant TCR road bike. It's a 2019 model, so it's a few years old now. It has Ultegra Di2 R8000. It's 11 speed and it has a disc brake setup. It's a nice bike and it works flawlessly, but it's not running the new Shimano 12-speed road group set. A few months ago, I looked at updating my Giant TCR road bike to a later model that has the 12-speed group set already on it. Now, I wasn't a fan on the only comes in orange. However, it would fast track me getting a hold of the new 12-speed group set. Now, for a number of reasons, that never eventuated. Probably a good thing because, let's be honest, that orange is hideous. Anyhow, almost a year after the announcement of these new Shimano road group sets, the parts are becoming available, and I've been spending the last few months ordering bits and pieces from here and there as they pop up online here in Australia. Mostly from BikeBug or Pushies, which are owned by the same parent company. So I now have enough parts to start this upgrade project. If you're asking yourself, why am I bothering with this upgrade when my road bike works flawlessly? Well, if it ain't broke, let's try and make it better or upgrade it. And it just happens to be there's a number of discounts that have been rolling out across these websites. So with those discounts, I've got this group set down to around $3,500 Australian. The resale value on my current Di2 R8000 should be pretty good. So there's that to take into consideration. It will also tidy up my Giant TCR road bike. More on exactly what it'll tidy up in a minute. And finally, because I'm interested in this technology, I'm interested in how it's all configured, how it's paired, the firmware updates, the system management, the mode switching, all the things. So it allows me to dig more into this new road bike tech. Looping back to what it will tidy up on my current road bike, well, the newer group set is semi-wireless, so it removes a lot of components, starting off with junction A, that no longer exists with the new group set, so the rear derailleur takes over as the junction, kind of. It's also the charging port. There's no junction B or 4-port module down at the bottom bracket. There's no need for the wireless module, that's now built in. Being semi-wireless, there's less wires, so the two levers aren't wired together, and a harness cable running down the down tube, that's all gone. And the new climbing shifters as well. They're a little different to the satellite shifter that I use, but it will clean up the front end on the bike too. So there's a number of things that are being removed from the bike, which should make it a little more tidy. So as I said, I've been ordering the parts bit by bit over the last few months, and I have the levers here and here, and the brake calipers. We have the front derailleur, we have the rear derailleur, we've got a rear cassette. Now I've got another one of these on order for indoor trainers, so 12 speed, HG compatible, so it will be compatible with the current wheels that I have and indoor trainers. Charging cable. We have the PC link device. This is a whole topic in itself. The PCE02 with the new cables required for the new Di2. We have the battery, wires, that was convenient. 12-speed chain, which I will be going to a wax solution for that. So stripping that back, starting off with the wax. The disc rotors, two of those, 160 on the front, 140 on the back. I also ordered the crank set, which is over here. And also in my lighting, so let's put this down here. I also have the brand new Dura-Ace power meter on the way next week, which means I've got to fast track the installation of this. Okay, let's get all of this configured on the bench, probably not the rotors or the chain and anything like that, but I want to make sure it all works and is all paired up before I put it on the bike. Now that will be part 2 of this video series. Just before getting to the bench configuration of the group set, a quick overview of the entire parts list that I'm using with their product code. Starting off with the chain set, the R8100 5236 chainring combination in 172.5 crank lengths. This may not see much use as the new Dura-Ace power meter is on the way. Chain, I've gone for the M9100 with quick link. Cassette, the only one in stock, which was the 1130 tooth. Levers, obviously the left and the right. They are the 8170, indicating they're the hydro levers. Front derailleur, rear derailleur, which is the 8150s. Disc brakes or disc calipers, the 8170s, front and rear. And the benefit of these is a little bit more disc rotor clearance. Speaking of the rotors, I've gone with the XTR style rotors, so the MT900s. 160mm front, 140mm rear, and I think these look a lot better than the standard silver Ultegra rotors. I'll also be replacing the bottom bracket on the bike away from Shimano this time and over to the Wheels Manufacturing BB86 Out BB bottom bracket. I have one of these on my older rim brake TCR, which is absolutely brilliant. I'll be using a similar one with this bike upgrade. The new Di2 does require the new battery, so the DN300. With that, also a charging cable, the EC300, and some Di2 wires. Just 2 of these for the whole system, which really does tidy things up. The EEL SD300-I being for internal routed cables, one 1400mm length and one of 750mm. And lastly, some components still in transit to the Lama Lab, the climbing switch shifter set, the SWRS801-T, T being changing from the tops, the SD300 cable tool, and I've got a second cassette on the way, another 1130, which I'll be using for indoor trainers. Okay, here's where the real fun begins, the bench testing or bench configuration of this new group set. And as you can see, things are very, very simple. 2 wires, 1 battery, 2 derailleurs, 2 levers, and that's it compared to the other spaghetti jungle that was required for the other setup. This looks very, very simple. A few things of note, if you're using one of these new batteries, you need to use the center port here, and any spare ports need to be terminated. So I have a terminator in there. Other than that, it's good to go. Currently, these levers are not known by this system, so the task will be to pair these levers to this system, and we're pretty much done. To do this, I believe there are 3 ways to pair these to this system over here. Firstly, using the QR code that's printed on the lever itself. Secondly, the serial number. And the third way would be using a wire to wire these into the system so it can correctly register them, and away you should go. Today, I'll be trying to use the QR code pairing. Alrighty, firstly, we need to put this rear derailleur into pairing mode. Button on the back there. Press and hold for a few seconds. We want flashing blue. Come on, flashing blue. There we go. That should be in pairing mode. Now we switch over to the eTube mobile app. And from here, this is going to be known pretty much as a new bike because it's a whole new group set or new brains. So we're going to click on there, searching for units. Hopefully that's still doing its thing in blue. No, it's timed out. Okay, let's get it doing its thing again. Blue flashies, there we go. And we have liftoff. We need to register this unit. Update the passkey later. Okay, so it's picked up what is currently wired into the system. So rear derailleur, front derailleur, and the battery. And this will be Lama Di2, Lama 12-speed Di2, we'll call it that for now. Register as a new bike, and the first thing it wants to do is add new switches. So that is exactly what we're going to do. Starting off with this switch here, click on add switch. It wants to read the QR code. There we go, paired left. Okay, that's all good. And pair right. Does the auto zoom on the camera. That is very, very fast in how it does that. Okay, we hit complete. We'll leave everything else just the same for now. So the wireless settings there, again, it's all dealt with via the rear derailleur. Passkey is all 0, so I will change that. That all looks pretty good. Okay, so we have now, as part of this new bike, the 2 shifters, which are down here. We have the shifting modes, which I won't worry about just for now. That's all looking good. Are there any updates available? There are indeed for the front and the rear. Let's just skip those just for now. We'll go over to maintenance, everything looks good. Okay, that's all configured. That really was very, very simple. Now, do we have rear derailleur operation? We do. And we have trim happening over here too, cool. That's working, and that is super, super fast. Over on the other side, now what are you going to do? You're also going to work. As expected, rock and roll, it is that easy. You done? You done? Excellent. Everything works. I'm now confident to put this on the bike, bigs on the front, wire everything up, well, wire all of this up, and cable these up with, well, technically not cables, they're brake hoses, and we should be good to go. Now, this firmware update, let's give that a crack.
A few moments later.
Okay, just over 10 minutes to get those updates done to the rear derailleur, front derailleur, and the battery. These, on the other hand, they're asking me to wake them up before testing them. Left. Oh, and they are on the latest. Fantastic. So we don't need to wire these in to update them. Oh, but interesting to see, the right lever does have a firmware update. And unfortunately, I can't do that. And as it's explained to me there, what I'll need to do is either wire this into the battery or alternatively use this device here, which is what I'll do in another video. But the question is, after the firmware updates, do these still work? Of course they do. Perfectly. It never gets old, this wireless stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. So there we have it, part 1 of my upgrade project video series, converting my older Shimano Di2 over to this new 12-speed stuff. Now before I go, a huge thanks to Terry from bettershifting.com. I'll put links in the video description below to his website, which is an absolutely brilliant resource for anything to do with Shimano Di2. And also Tobias from Rides of Japan creates some really, really good content around anything Shimano and Di2. Anytime he gets his hands on some new Shimano stuff, it's definitely worth watching the video. And with that, we'll leave it there for today. If you've enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe to support this channel. There's also a join button down there too. We shall see you in the next video.